the flanging on the guitar there. And then another good one is that Hendrix's Bold as Love. Now this, again, is pre-flanger pedal, so this was probably done with real tape flanging. But here, the flanging is kind of on everything. And it's very thick. We'll see. The flanging can get pretty intense when you vary that feedback gain. And the example I brought in the chord PME is nice in that it will oscillate in the flanger. I'll show you that. But it's also nice in that the feedback, not only does it allow you to vary the feedback gain, but it allows you to vary the feedback phase. So you can go positive gain or negative gain. Another variation on this concept is chords. The flanger, you're talking 5 to 10 milliseconds. If you expand that delay time to about 20 to 30 and eliminate the feedback path, you get the effect known as chorus. It's basically the same thing. The idea of chorus originally was it was supposed to sound like a chorus of guitars, right? It's supposed to sound multiple guitars, make your guitar sound thicker. In reality, it kind of has its own sound. And, you know, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever your opinion is, it's kind of the sound of the 80s. You know, chorus is definitely an 80s sound. So, you know, the Iron Maiden, a very thick chorusy sound. That's chorus on top of distortion. So again, it fills up a lot of spectrum. Another example, now this is chorus on a clean guitar. You know, this is almost probably a little bit longer, you almost hear the delay. And then of course, Eddie's 80s sound, you know, the Van Hagar sound, had a lot of chorus on it. This is, you know, the original Van Halen guitar sound called the Brown sound, it's the distorted Marshall, the early album. The later sound, I don't think it has a name, but it has a lot of chorus on it. You can hear it. And then one example I have, this is a chorus pedal I took. I'm just running a sine wave, a square wave through it. So that took the effect off. And then that's a thick chorus. And you can hear it, you can kind of see the variations in pitch because that delay time is moving around. Now, if you turn that up, you'll get to some really crazy pitch marble where you are just, you can see that the harmonics are varying so far that they're bleeding into each other. And then at the end, you can totally max it out and go nuts. That's all control maxed out. And I brought in this one was recorded with the Rocktron Tsunami. It has a kind of hi-fi chorus sound. I brought in the PB Companded chorus, which is my favorite now, which goes way sicker than this. It's a nice sound. Okay, so that's about it for the lecture. Like I said, I like Harmony Central has, excuse me, a bunch of pages that explain effects. The Ultimate Tone is good for distortion. We use that a lot as a reference for the amplifiers. GeoFX has some good articles on FX Tech. I think that's where the technology to fuzz phase, technology to tube screamer came from. And then there's some other, this is some stuff on ring modulation and RF. I mentioned the ring modulator is actually the same as an RF mixer. So that's some links on that. And then the last one is some stuff on pitch modification. Again, I haven't had a chance to write it up and simulate it myself, so I haven't included that in the demo, or in the slide. Okay, now we'll go on and do some demonstrations. So what I've brought in is a number of pedals, mostly battery powered, some wall power here. Unfortunately, I'm not hearing it.
You want some help switching pedals around?
Ah, it's okay. I can. What's going on? Oh. I get the order right. All right. First thing we got, let's try and do them in order similar to class here. Looking at level shifters, I've got a compressor. Now, the compressor with output level 0 gives you nothing. All right, so I should mention these effects are the Korg PME 40X. So the way these work is, excuse me, they're, make sure this thing is aimed wide enough to get it. The way they work is they have a base module that has all the bypass circuitry in it. So like, like I mentioned last week, the boss uses, a buffered bypass. Well, that's all in the base module. And then all the processing are in these little modules. So you can plug 4 of them into the base module. You've got 4 bypasses. And then you've got another button that'll turn them all on and off. So it's a handy unit. They had a number of basic standard effects. Like you have a compressor. I brought the compressor, distortion, chorus, and flanger in here. And then I've got the phaser and what they call analog delay, which is, of course, bucket brigade. And then it had 3 what I like to call wacky effects. The octave, which we talked about, which generates not only, it passes the regular signal. It'll generate 1 octave up via rectifier. It'll generate 1, 1.5, and 2 octaves down, like I mentioned. And then it also has individual distortion. So each of those octaves has their own separate distortion, plus it has a built-in noise gain. And then the other one is the disc wah, which is an envelope wah generator, which has a lot of great controls on it. There's a third one that I don't have yet called a wave shaper. It's a very extreme fuzz that actually does like waveform modification. It's crazy. Okay. So, let's see. Oh, so we got that's the main power switch on the back.
You got it plugged in too.
Plugged in. Ah, thank you. Second rule of electrical engineering: make sure your wires are connected. First rule.
Don't go like
That's kind of zero rule, I guess. First rule: make sure the power's on. Okay, so first thing, we'll play with the compressor. So I can adjust, so make the attack slow, the sensitivity high, and the output level moderate. See if we can. You can hear that, if I play quietly or I play heavily, my dynamics really aren't changing that much. So I turn it off. It's squashing that dynamic range. I'm playing very heavily and it's not coming out as such. A lot of different compressors have different ways of controlling it too. But these are fairly standard. So unfortunately I don't play much music that it works well with a compressor. The real usefulness of the compressor for me is it gives me a better signal for driving the octave. When we want to generate, this doesn't have a great clock extraction, so in order to get a better signal out of the octave, I like to use a compressor. Now here I've got the storage. The distortion is very similar. It's got a tone, a distortion knob, which is